Well, honestly, it's a good fact for the defense. I mean, use the fact that they've never discussed it. Best friends, friends, whatever you want to call them, didn't discuss it because it didn't happen. He didn't do it. And so it's a
Or
good
he didn't
fact in that
discuss it. He didn't
sense.
discuss it because he knew that he was going to get caught on tape saying, "Uh-oh, I just said something to my friend I shouldn't have said."
Right, right, absolutely. And listen, it is smart to not talk about it on a jailhouse phone. I mean, that's recorded, and so something you got to keep in mind is that when a defendant's speaking on, a wall phone out of a prison or something like that, or out of a jailhouse, he's on a recorded line. You also want to preserve the nature of this testimony and things like that. So ultimately, really pushing him on that fact is good, but it could really go either way.
So here is something to an interesting exchange because they were saying, Kathy goes missing and you just don't really ask Robert Durst, your friend, about this. And Mr. Oliver says, I accepted Bobby for what he was. And if he didn't want to talk to me about something upsetting, I don't think it's so wrong that he didn't talk to me. And he didn't really he didn't push Bobby for more answers. What do you think about that?
Well, again, you could spin this in so many ways because it's like, well, you just accept him to be the killer, and so you didn't want to, pressure him, or did you accept the fact that maybe he was dealing with an investigation, and you believe your friend, who you know very well for yourself? So a lot to come out of it. Now he did have a perfectly good explanation, which is that he hasn't talked to Robert in about 29 years, and that explains why they haven't discussed it in so long. If the prosecution or if the state is trying to make it seem like they buried the hatchet, they swept it under the rug, well, there's a really long period of time in which they had no conversation. And so a lot of it is kind of explained. But again, you can really spin these items both ways. If you're the defense, you argue they didn't discuss it because it was incidental, and Douglas believed that Durst was not, the seminal defendant, or really the suspect. And if you're the prosecution, you go the other way. They didn't discuss it because they accepted it, and he's a hostile witness. He's willing to say anything he will for his friend.
And that's the very real possibility here, that it looks like he was combative with the prosecutor. He'll say whatever he needs to say to support his friend Robert Durst. Robert Durst's pump of approval is not a good thing for the jury to ultimately see there. And again, for this witness to answer the prosecutor's questions with questions of his own, it doesn't look right. So at the end of the day, you wonder if this is a friend who maybe knows more about what happened and is just covering up. We're going to take a break.